What's up? It's your girl Drama Queen again. I really did not plan on doing a follow-up video this quickly, but God is amazing. But if you watch 60 Days In, you would think that I don't like God or prayer, which is so not the truth. But anyway, I was sitting down editing the first video that I did about reality TV and the pros and the cons. Should you do it? Should you not? The editing, all of that good stuff. And more so talking about me and my journey and why I would decide to do something as risky as volunteering to go to jail. So as I'm editing the video, I am a visual person. I'm a visual learner. And I said, let me get some statistics and get some visuals to put in my video. And this was not uploaded earlier today when I was getting some information, but I would like to tell you why I wanted to volunteer to go to jail. This was uploaded a couple hours ago, Thursday, November 12th, 2020. People want to know, why would somebody go that has celiac and they know this is not a resort, this is jail, and if you don't want to do the time, then you shouldn't do the crime? Well, to that I say a lot, but the most important thing that I'm going to say right now in this very moment is everyone that goes to jail is not guilty. So you can't have that attitude. So what prompted me to want to put myself in jeopardy and at risk and my health to do a program like this is this very thing that I read today. About 5 minutes ago. I literally was in the bed. I got up and put my clothes back on. The article says, lawsuit alleges that Clark County Jail failed to provide an inmate a gluten-free diet. This is today, like a couple minutes ago. Man with celiac disease filed lawsuit after losing more than 10% of his body weight in 3 weeks. A man with celiac disease who was held in the Clark County Jail earlier this year has filed a lawsuit in federal court against Clark County, the Clark County Jail, and NAFCare, Inc. The lawsuit claims that while an inmate was left without safe access to food, the suit alleges that the Clark County Jail denied the person repeated requests for gluten-free food, and the result was that he lost more than 10% of his body weight in 3 weeks. The suit includes claims of disability discrimination, facts, constitutional violation, facts, and state law claims, facts. In January, the gentleman was experiencing depression, and police were called over concerned that he was suicidal. He was booked and held at the Clark County Jail for approximately 22 days. That in itself is a problem, because how is jail going to help somebody that's suicidal? Like, they need to be in a mental hospital talking to a therapist. And as many people know, and as I know from being in Edward County Detention Center, mental health in a jail facility is non-existent. So that's mistake number one. 22 days and you were suicidal. If you weren't suicidal, you might be after you leave a jail for 22 days. Moving right along. The gentleman has celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disease that requires a strict gluten-free diet and affects about 1% of the population. Celiac disease has no cure. The only treatment is strict avoidance of gluten. The gentleman described in the lawsuit that he is a 26-year-old Native American male who now lives on a reservation in Michigan. At the time of his incarceration, he was a resident of Vancouver. Yesterday, his attorneys said that the gentleman notified the jail officials that he had celiac disease. He requested a gluten-free diet, signed off on a release of his medical records to prove it. The jail initially refused to provide a safe diet. Sounds familiar. Instead, telling him to trade his meals to other people in detention for bananas. Sounds real familiar. Mine was oranges. The letter claimed that the gentleman became extremely ill and malnourished to the point that he lost consciousness and was not responding to painful stimuli by emergency responders. Even after he was approved for a gluten-free diet, the lawsuit states that he was served food containing gluten. Sounds familiar. Further exacerbating his symptoms. He continued to suffer from mistreatment, although he has been released. Sounds familiar. On Thursday, Clark County Chief Civil Deputy Emily Sheldrick told Clark County Today, "I do not believe the county has been served with this complaint as of today's date. However, the county will be evaluating the case and defending itself in litigation. Because this is pending litigation, I cannot comment on the specific allegations." I'm not going to read all of this. I will post a screenshot so you can see. I have the court document. I'm going to make sure I put a copy of that. It's 26 pages. Wow. I'll put a link to it. I won't put all 26 pages, but I will put a link to the video. So for people that want to know, why would somebody that knows that they have all these limitations, why would they volunteer and go to jail? That's stupid. They thought they was on a resort. She was just complaining all the time. Why would she do this? She knew her situation. This is why the hell I did it. This is not the first time. It won't be the last time, but hopefully with me being the sacrificial lamb and going in there and bringing awareness, this stuff will stop. I can't do it alone. I cannot do it alone. And things like this sadden me. I read about 4 or 5 cases that happened while I was in the jail or after I went into the jail of similar situations. Why would I not lend my expertise to doing something like that? Because a lot of people that do have celiac disease or have any other type of autoimmune disease, I've read it. I've read the comments. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't. Clearly, I was the chick for the job. The way that A&N 68 Days In had me portrayed is a whole nother thing. But I can't really worry about that. I'm going to speak my piece and my truth will be told. However, I am tired of hearing about things like this happening. You can get in jail, in prison. You can request a certain meal because of your religion, but not because of health reasons. And so there were people who was like, oh, she didn't have no documentation, so clearly she doesn't have gluten. If you know anything about the show, I was in there under a different name. My doctor could not provide documentation under my real name because I wasn't there in my real name. Okay? This stuff has to end. I don't care that you're in prison or jail. The ADA made this a disability several years ago because if you are fed food that has gluten in it or has had any type of cross-contamination, it wreaks havoc on your body. It wreaks havoc. Before the age of 30, was it 1, 2? I can't remember now. It was either 2 or 3 sets of endoscopies and colonoscopies that I had to endure to figure out what was wrong with me. Because I was misdiagnosed the majority of my life, that's where the damage in my body comes from. So think about this. If you have an ailment that was misdiagnosed and left untreated, and the one thing that you always wanted to do in life, which is become a mother, if a disease has ripped that away from you, why in the hell would I go in jail and just say, yeah, I'm gonna just eat this food. I'm in jail. I know it's not a resort. I'm gonna eat this. No. It is a silent killer of my insides. I wasn't willing to do it. I had to eat some stuff that had cross-contamination. I didn't know. But if I knew that it had gluten, I wasn't eating it. My roommate one day, she said, I had some noodles and they had, I don't remember what kind of meat they had on it. And so she was like, oh, your noodles look different than mine. She's like, are you going to eat them? And I said, no. I doubt very seriously that Etowah County Detention Center has received gluten-free noodles in the short amount of time that I've been here. So what they tried to do was cook some different noodles to try to make it seem like, okay, this is gluten-free. When in actuality, I found out they didn't even know what the hell gluten was. Having to live on a gluten-free diet is very expensive. It's very expensive. Everything costs more. So I knew that there were certain things they weren't going to be able to give me, gluten-free bread and this and that. I was okay with that. But give me the things that are naturally gluten-free. And that is what this gentleman and other people that I have read about have said. And those that know me know I'm a champion for those that do not have a mouthpiece. And because it's something as simple as jail, people automatically judge them and think that they shouldn't have a voice. And it doesn't matter what happens to them if they leave in a condition that's worse than when they came in. Why? Because they're a criminal or they're a perceived criminal. That is not right. And I wanted to be a part of this program to bring awareness and tell people, shame on you, just as I told 60 Days In, A&E, and the production team, shame on you for the way you portrayed my story. This is not a joke. Before I even knew about 60 Days In, before I even decided to be a participant on 60 Days In, I had videos on my YouTube page about being gluten-free and having celiac disease. At one point, I started a YouTube channel called the Midwest Gluten-Free Diva, in which I went to different restaurants around the Midwest to review different bakeries, restaurants, whatever, that were designated gluten-free. I'm still doing that now. Why? Because this disease sucks ass. No, for celiac, I don't have to take medicine. That is one of the reasons I was allowed to be a participant on season 6 of 60 Days In, because you cannot be a participant if you have to take medicine, because you need medical records, and your medical records are not going to be the name that you're in the jail under. So you're not allowed to do that. So here I am, a first, where I have a medical situation in which you don't have to have medicine. It's a unique opportunity. And they didn't take advantage of it. So hopefully this video and some of the other videos that I have a lot of videos on my YouTube page about 60 Days In. So hopefully this brings a little bit of clarification. You know, I'm a little perturbed right now, and I'm trying to calm that down. Because just as people fight for racial injustice, just as people fight for LGBTQ rights, just as people fight for sexism and things that happen in the workplace, this is serious. I left my job early, which meant that I had to quit my job. I closed down my business, which I have had for over 12 years at this point, 11 years then, and I put my health in jeopardy and at risk to bring awareness. And I feel like it was laughed at. It was like, you know what? This is something different. We're going to get a laugh out of this. It's not cool. It's not cool. It's actually a punk ass move. When you have the opportunity to really bring awareness to things. But I guess the network is more concerned with, you know, shows like Cops and Live PD and things that are in the jail, and not so much the things that affect the people that are in the jail. Before I leave you, I'm going to leave you with this. While I was in the jail, some of you guys saw my feet had gotten really, really swollen and big. Several of the inmates told me, oh, that's related to a heart issue. And I'm like, I don't have no heart issue. I went to medical on more than one occasion because I didn't know if that was because of gluten, because I don't purposely eat gluten when I'm not in the jail, when I have complete control over my diet. I didn't know what was going on. When I got out of jail, Actually, when I was in jail, my heart was kind of bothering me. I noticed my heart would wake me up out of my sleep. And I'm like, what is this? Went to report that to the jail. Earlier this year, in February of this year, I had to go to the doctor because I had been extremely sick. I was diagnosed in February with Graves' disease. So as well as having celiac disease, now I have to deal with Graves' disease, which means I do have to take medicine. And in addition to the Graves' disease, I am on heart medicine because of my heart palpitations, which are caused due to Graves' disease. So while I was in jail, I was suffering with another medical issue that I had no idea about. And it could have been treated earlier had my health not been at risk. People say, why would you say you would take this whole program down? When I went to talk to the medical team and my feet were swollen, and then they lied to me and said that they came to give me medicine and I refused it, I caught my mother on the jail phone crying, pissed off. And we decided right then and there that my time was over because they didn't care about my health. I had already had a situation with Miss Holier Than Thou, which I was trying to save her because she was about to get her ass beat because the inmates knew she was on 60 days in. She put me in jeopardy. They don't give a shit about my medical. When I said that, and I've said this in another video, if the production team thought at any time that I was going to shut the program down, they would have pulled me immediately. That didn't happen. They knew that they were supposed to call me in to tell me what the plan was for me to get the hell out. I needed to go home, get to the doctor, see what was going on. They didn't do that. They didn't call me. They called Ashley. They brought Ashley in and then they left. So when y'all saw me like, I will blow all this shit up. It's like, how y'all gonna tell me y'all gonna take me out? I'm not trying to get out because I'm scared of somebody. My feet were swollen. I'm having heart palpitations and nobody's listening. So unfortunately, unlike the real inmates, I had a choice. But they didn't show any of that. So hopefully this is a little bit clear to you of why someone with celiac disease and now Graves' disease, which is another autoimmune disease, would volunteer to go to jail. This is why most people that have one autoimmune disease have multiple. You could be driving home, get pulled over, and go to jail and be innocent. If you have an autoimmune disease, I hope you don't leave there worse than you came in. Something that I'm passionate about. And you're going to continue to learn about my journey with celiac disease along with some other people's journey. This is my baby now. I trusted A&E in 60 days in and the production team. I trusted them. I trusted you guys. I trusted you with my story. And you ripped me a new asshole and didn't even have the want or know how to even use Vaseline. You just ripped me a new asshole. So it's not gonna stop me. It's going to push me further. So thank you, A&E 60 Days In, for giving me this fire that is under my ass because of what y'all did. I appreciate it. And because of what you did and because of what I read today and what I read before I volunteered, we're going to change this. And I'm willing to be the person that is behind that. So thank you so much for your support. If you know somebody that has celiac, don't treat it as a joke. It's not. It's life-changing. Y'all have a good one. Good night.